So we have large, giant hedge funds, right, that come to BlockFi to borrow crypto, big asset managers, market makers, they trade with us, etc. And then we have retail like you and me or others who use us for interest accounts, for credit cards, for loans, etc.
That was in April of this year, and now crypto firm BlockFi officially files for bankruptcy as the FTX fallout spreads. This is sourced from CNBC. Distressed crypto firm BlockFi has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of New Jersey following the implosion of acquirer FTX. Now, BlockFi did have more than 100,000 creditors with liabilities and assets ranging from $1 billion to $10 billion. The company also listed an outstanding $275 million loan to FTX. So BlockFi had lent money to FTX US, which now we know with FTX in bankruptcy, it is going to be a while for them to get that money back. This is a direct quote from BlockFi, quote, "We do have significant exposure to FTX and associated corporate entities that encompasses obligations owed to us by Alameda, assets held at FTX.com, and undrawn amounts from our credit line with FTX.US. The company started talking with restructuring professionals in the days after FTX's bankruptcy filings." Now, Robin, are you any bit surprised that BlockFi has officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States?
No, everyone knew this was coming. The writing was on the wall. They were getting ready for bankruptcy, and they made it public, and it was common knowledge. It is just now official. So the day is here. Now, will the contagion spread? Will there be other players that are affected by BlockFi's insolvency issues, by their bankruptcy issues, and them not paying back debts? Who do they borrow money from? There's a lot of creditors that they owe money to. One being the SEC, which is comical right now.
They still owe, by the way, they still owe the SEC about $30 million.
Yeah. And maybe they got into this position because of the debt owed to the SEC. So, you know, the SEC isn't free of this matter as well.
Well, Robin, here's what's of interest, right? So the deal with the SEC was only for $100 million. We found out that they FTX US borrowed $275 million from BlockFi. And so could you argue that that probably has a little more impact on BlockFi going under than the SEC?
Of course it does. This is yet another example of how BlockFi or how FTX was lending people money and, you know, or borrowing money. Because remember, Voyager had the same thing. They borrowed money from Voyager, and then Voyager went under. They borrowed money. It's like everything that FTX touches has gone to crap, right?
Literally.
And so my concern is that they owe millions of dollars to other institutions, or other institutions have had money locked up. As he said, there's giant hedge funds and brokerages that are using BlockFi. And how many of them still had money on BlockFi? I'd imagine it's probably a big percentage. And so the contagion spreads. And, you know, the ones that are leveraged the most from FTX are going to be the ones that fall first. It doesn't remove the risk of closure, insolvency, bankruptcy, and for this to spread a little further down the road. So I think that, you know, maybe a month from now, 3 months from now, we'll see some other large crypto companies go under as well.
Now, Robin, what's interesting that the article highlights is that just days after FTX went under, before BlockFi filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, they had hired restructuring professionals to go over options. We've seen that with Voyager. We've seen it now with BlockFi. And guess who else just hired restructuring professionals but said they're not declaring bankruptcy? It is Genesis. Is this the kiss of death that if a company goes and hires restructuring professionals, it's a foregone conclusion that bankruptcy is in the cards?
Well, it's a foregone conclusion that Genesis was going to file bankruptcy anyways. At least it was here in the Sin City house. You got to understand, Genesis is so far underwater. They need billions of dollars, multi-billions billions of dollars to stay afloat, which their own parent company is not giving it to them. So, yes, is it a kiss of death? Sure. Why would you hire restructuring lawyers? Well, because you need to restructure. And that is the whole premise of bankruptcy anyways, is to consolidate debt and not pay a bunch of it off and screw people over. That's the world we live in. So are they next to fall? I think they are. Yeah.
Now we do have, we were in Bitcoin Miami in April of this year, 2022. And we did run into Shane. He is a high-level executive at BlockFi. And we asked him some questions about BlockFi, and we want to share that interview with you and talk about where they were and where they are now.
There is an emerging space with the services that you offer as far as comparable services and other spaces as well. Now, what sets you guys apart from both traditional finances and some of these new players that you're seeing offering staking rewards, cards, very similar products? So, like, what makes BlockFi stand out against the competition?
Yes, there's a couple things that I can mention on standout, but the first thing I think I want to bring up is the ecosystem. So for those of you that aren't familiar, BlockFi has a institutional prime brokerage business and a retail financial services business. We have a full ecosystem that lives within the BlockFi umbrella. So we have large, giant hedge funds, right, that come to BlockFi to borrow crypto, big asset managers, market makers, they trade with us, etc. And then we have retail like you and me or others who use us for interest accounts, for credit cards, for loans, etc. So having the two-sided one business, that ecosystem, is very efficient for us to be able to drive efficiencies, innovations, and drive effective yield for our customers. On top of that, compliance, huge. We really focus on compliance. As you guys can see with some of the SEC work that we've done historically, we focus on security. Adam Healy, our CISO, is one of the most unbelievable people in the industry, and there's tons of content out there as he talks about some of the security practices that BlockFi follows. We've never been hacked. We've never had any sort of security issues with client funds whatsoever.
Now, Robin, obviously you were the one that did the interview with Shane. What was your first impression of him, of the company, what he was talking about? Kind of share that, if you will.
Oh, they were loving life. You know, I think, you know, they had the lawsuit with the SEC. They moved past it, and you know, they're there at Bitcoin Miami. They're having a good time. You know, the entire BlockFi team was super nice and humble. You know, compared to another institution that was there, Celsius. You know, they had all kinds of issues going on in the back end. Some people have went as far as saying it's fraud and manipulation, deceit, lying. I think that was Celsius. And then you saw BlockFi, who on the other end was, you know, the issue they got into was because they leveraged themselves into debt and borrowed money and lent money out to the wrong people. They basically made the wrong financial decisions on who to partner with. FTX here now that all the cards have fallen where they may be. But, you know, we weren't at the all-time highs anymore. You know, we were going into the bear market. We hadn't even had the Luna collapse, Celsius collapse, or the FTX collapse. And so, you know, BlockFi, all they had in their back pocket, or, you know, in the past, was the SEC lawsuit, which they settled on. They were moving forward. And so BlockFi people, they were happy. They were enthusiastic. They were super cool. We were hanging out with them. We had some drinks and small talk with BlockFi. A little contrast from the Celsius group, who was being mischievous and lying and full of fraud and manipulation. I feel like BlockFi just happened to make some partnerships with the wrong people, FTX, and I think that's where they're at now because of that.
Now, speaking of FTX and everything else, if you haven't checked out our channel yet, feel free to do so at Sin City Crypto. We've created playlists and videos. We do a live show Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to stay up to date on all things crypto, make sure to subscribe and check us out. Now, Robin, is the BlockFi bankruptcy priced in to the current prices of crypto and especially Bitcoin? Are we going to see more fallout? You know, Shane did say they have tons of hedge funds, tons of institutional money. We have to assume a majority of those are still on the exchange, are still on BlockFi, that now won't be accessible. What kind of ripple effects do you see coming from BlockFi moving forward?
So I think in the short term, definitely priced in. It's no surprise that BlockFi filed for bankruptcy. We all knew it was coming. We discussed it earlier. Now, what I don't think is priced in is a contagion effect spreading from this particular bankruptcy. And so who owes money, or who's owed money by BlockFi that we'll never see it again, that is teetering on insolvency issues or just trying to stay afloat, you know, trying to make it through the bear market. Let's not get ourselves. Bear market might extend this time around. FTX might have screwed up the whole cycle, right? And so if we go into a longer bear market and, you know, institutions are expecting us to come out sometime in 2023, and that just doesn't come because of this whole mess that FTX caused, then, you know, can you stay afloat? Can you make it through another 2 years of the bear market? I doubt it. And if you're owed millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from BlockFi and you're not going to see it, I think this is just the next domino to fall.
Make sure to like the video on your way out and subscribe to Sin City Crypto. We will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.